Hey, hello, wrestling world, wrestling nation, wrestling rooms, the Florida Wrestling Room, everybody out there. Thank you so much for your support of this wonderful platform that we have here. I am live now with another wrestling stud and a great wrestling coach out of Notre Dame College. His name is Nate Skonieczny, and he was a four-time state placer, two-time state champ at Walsh Jesuit in Ohio, home of the Ironman, where he won it twice. So awesome. His senior year, he was ranked number one in the country. He still holds the all-time wins record. I think it was 186 or something.
Yeah.
While he was at Walsh Jesuit, which is a big deal. That's a big name in our country. And collegiately, he went on to wrestle at Iowa, Kent State, and then a JUCO, Jamestown. So we'll talk a little bit about that. But what's going on, man? Talk about the times we're in right now and what you've been doing to keep your wrestlers' heads on straight.
Yeah. So, these college kids, you really, really got to manage them tightly, especially with this much freedom that they got right now. A lot of Zoom meetings, kind of like what we're doing. Just making sure these guys are finishing strong academically. That's our main focus right now. Wrestling, these guys are wrestlers. Wrestlers, you don't really have to worry about them working out. I see them on Snapchat, on Instagram. They're training hard. They're hungry. But just the academic part was the hard thing for us. Everything went online, and it was like overnight it went online. So it was like trying to get these guys set up. The guys that are going home, not all of them had Wi-Fi and laptops, to get their work done. So just working with those guys, it took a good week or two to get them, ready to take on those online classes, but everyone finished smooth. Our team GPA was the highest it's been in years. So we had a strong finish to the end of the year.
And that's awesome. Good for you guys. And
Yeah.
have they been doing any kind of virtual work or maybe hitting the gym? But I think that didn't they just announce that college kids can get back into voluntarily training?
I'm not exactly sure with wrestling. I know the non-contact sports like baseball and that's starting to open up. Our college is shut down, so we can't have kids in the wrestling room. We can't have them in the facilities. So it limits us. But how wrestlers are. They'll wrestle out in the grass if they have to.
Yeah, they're finding ways to do it, right?
Yeah. Oh, absolutely. Absolutely.
So my first question, tell us about Walsh Jesuit and their historic program and what that program has meant to you and their coaching staff and everything over the years.
Yeah. I had an older brother that went there. I grew up about 15 minutes from Walsh. So my dad, was a big Walsh Jesuit fan. They won all the national championships through the 90s. Being that close to Walsh and being such a big wrestler, it was almost a no-brainer. Growing up, I got to watch guys like Clint Musser and Sonny Marchetti and Joe Heskett, guys that went on to do big things in college and on the world scene as well. So in my situation, it was a no-brainer. My brother went there. He won a state title. And then ultimately, I wanted to carry that legacy on as well.
Yeah, and a lot of big time college and world wrestlers have come out of that program.
Big time.
And so it's now, are they? I guess they're involved in the state tournaments, not the prep tournaments, right?
Yes. Yep. They wrestle in the Ohio State tournament,
which is tremendous. So who was your so Walsh Jesuit? Who's the big rival there?
When I was in high school, we were really competitive. So we always battled like St. Paris Graham and St. Ed's. But we have kind of like a little, private school rivalry in Ohio with like CVCA. Their school was literally right across the street from us. And they were like a D3 powerhouse and we were a D2 powerhouse. So, every year that was like a big battle with us. But it kind of changes. They've been down. And I guess, when you're down, you don't really have many rivalries, but they'll get back on top. They're climbing fast.
Nice. So the toughest high school match you had?
Oh, man. We wrestled a nasty schedule. I would probably say I wrestled a series with Bo Jordan. So I beat him at a tournament called the Top Gun. It was actually his only high school loss. And then he
Nice.
beat me when it counted at the state tournament. But I remember he was probably the only kid I ever wrestled that I was like sore for 3 or 4 days after wrestling.
Oh, yeah.
He was an animal.
Tough, huh?
Yeah, he was an animal. He just pulled on you, and I like to hand fight, and I like to get in there, and he does too. So it was a war, real low scoring. It was just a lot of hand fighting and pulling and pushing on each other.
Wow. So, talk about how difficult the transition is for young men and women to go from high school wrestling to college wrestling, even at the highest level. Coming out, I know I talked to Bichetta yesterday, and he's like, "Man, I came out of Ohio, a state champ, and I walk into a room, and it's like nobody gives a shit." Like,
No, you're full of those guys. You know, the transition, I think, when I was coming out of high school was a little more difficult than it is now. And I say that because of the regional training centers that these colleges have. So, for instance, in Ohio, if you're a top 3 kid in the state, if you place top 3, you can train at that regional training center with those college guys, after your season. Where
you
when I
can
was
get a
in high
little
school,
bit of experience.
a lot. When I was in high school, I had a brother that was at Kent State, and I rarely ever got to wrestle with a college kid. My main drill partners were just, my high school guys. So when I went to college, it was like, that was my first dose of wrestling with college kids, where now these kids, they do get exposure really young. I mean, they can realistically get college exposure. If you take top 3 in the state as a freshman, you can start training at that regional training center.
So it's not as easy as people think. They're not going to walk out of being like a 4-timer into
No.
wrestling and start right away. They're going to be
No, in wrestling's different. It's, when you're 18 years old and you're wrestling a 23, 24-year-old, it's hand-to-hand combat, the strength, maturity, that plays a big factor. You don't get away with athleticism so much.
And the strength and conditioning program that these kids are going through in college, how different is that than from the ones that you experience at the high school level?
So I was fortunate. I had great coaching. I had some of the best high school coaching through high school. So I was exposed to those high-level training methods early on in my career. I mean, honestly, my dad put me around the right people really early on in my career, from youth on up. So, I've always had really high-level training. But I got, I have buddies that, go to college and it's like complete culture shock, So for me, it was easy. It was a pretty easy transition. The training methods were pretty similar to the ones at Walsh. But I was really fortunate.
That's good. So let's talk a little bit about the college that you're the assistant coach at, Notre Dame Wrestling.
Yeah.
Go ahead. Talk a little bit about Notre Dame Wrestling. What the culture is there, and the culture that you're bringing into there. How you focus on academics as well to make sure that these kids understand that you're a scholastic athlete, and then maybe kids you're looking for, et cetera. Stuff like that. Talk about your program.
Yeah, so Notre Dame, it's located, we're like 15 minutes from downtown Cleveland. So we're in a beautiful area. And we're in the freaking heartbeat of Ohio, or USA Wrestling. So, we're lucky. We have a great fan base. We're a Division II program, small school. Our school is about 80% athletes, so we have a really good culture, really cool feel when you come onto campus here. But I mean, Notre Dame, they've been dominant ever since they started their program up. They've won 4 national titles. They put out guys like Joey Davis. He was an undefeated 4-time NCAA champion. And the culture we have here is a lot like the Division I. We want to win ultimately, but we want to do it right. So we want to get kids on our system, on our program. We get them in on our academic programs, and we make sure that these kids are on track to graduate in 4 to 5 years. But, being Division II, we're in a unique situation where it's not so business-like. where we can kind of sit back and enjoy it a little more. So when we're able to enjoy the sport a little more, we build that family connection. Our guys are super tight knit. When they hang out with each other. And ultimately our guys love to wrestle. We've seen a real good change. So we have last year was our first year with our new head coach, Sonny Marchetti. Kind of a younger coach, high energy. And he's real advanced with training, so it's not like just get in the wrestling room and grind it out every day. We try to maximize the amount of fun we can have in a wrestling season, because ultimately, wrestling is not that fun of a sport, So we do things like, we'll go outside as much as we can, and we do outdoor practices, and we hit the football field, and, we'll hit the streets and go for a run, and we do things as a team, big team events. And
that's awesome. And I had Charles Mason on, who's down the road from you.
Yeah,
I think he spent some time with you guys over there, right?
Yes.
And,
yes.
And I want to ask you this too. He says, man, being a college coach or an assistant coach or involved in a program that's in Ohio is unbelievable, because the depth of wrestling, you can say, okay, well, the throwaways that we get are like state champs anywhere else. So he's like, man, we just, the little drips that we get are still, some of the best wrestlers in our country. So it's all we got to do is stand underneath the waterfall and just catch a couple cups of water.
Yeah. But with that being said, most of these colleges come to Ohio to find their kids too, so we're fighting off those out of state colleges as well. But yeah, it's easier to definitely, to convince a kid to go to college in state, than having to travel across the country.
And from what I understand, and I think Antoine Pugh spoke about this a little bit too, was you guys get to go to a lot of these open tournaments where they say these open tournaments are open. So you get people that have finished college and can still qualify for these tournaments. And we're D1 athletes. You're getting D1 colleges and D1 athletes to D2, D3, NAIA club. You're still getting the opportunity to kind of be out there, and the competition is tough.
Yeah, we every year when we look at our schedule, we try to make it tough. You can only be as good as your competition, really. We don't want to go to the national tournament and be shocked by what we see. So, we go to things like the Southeast Open, which is hosted by Virginia Tech, where we were wrestling Campbell and UVA and Virginia Tech and NC State and UNC. Then we go to tournaments like Cleveland State Open, where you got Cleveland State and Kent State and Ohio State. So when we do hit these high level D2 guys, nothing comes as a surprise. Our guys are really prepared, and if you look at the history of our program, it's been successful. Because we've wrestled that schedule. We're not too worried about having guys that look pretty on paper, that 30-0 or 30-2. Our tough guys, they have these crazy records. It'd be 25-7 and 8. They take a bunch of losses, but they always finish up on top.
And I think that, I spoke to Coach Tom Borelli.
Yeah.
I think he's right now the active wins leader, I think, in college wrestling. But he said, when I try to recruit, I don't want the best. Let them go somewhere else. I want these kids that I can groom. They're that next level down where I can work with them. But so what is your most memorable moment on the mat in your career so far?
As in competition, or just as in general?
Competition, general. Something that I don't know. What's that one thing that you go either, wow, I can't believe I just watched that match, or wow, that's the match that really made me believe in myself a little more, or I belong. Like I had NATO, and he was like, as a freshman, I beat this kid that had won the nationals, and I was like, whoa. So I belong here now,
Yeah, I would say first state title. There's nothing like that, man. Especially, I took second as a freshman. I took third as a sophomore, and I trained like a maniac. Like I did everything year round to win a state title. So, you know, your third time around, you know, and I had a kid that was ranked in the country. He was a St. Paris Graham kid. I was like 5 in the country as a junior, and he was like 6. So like those state titles, they never came easy for me, you know. And
Yeah, we were fortunate to have a matchup this year at our states. That was number 1 in the country versus number 2 in the country.
wow.
It was one of the Rivera brothers and
Yes.
and Frankie Talshar.
Yeah.
So, and it was a 2-1, I think, was the match. And they said it was one of the biggest matches Florida's ever seen at the state tournament. And it was incredible because even the refs and everybody came around this match.
You'll see those guys compete for the next couple of years.
Yeah, and it's pretty cool to see 2 Florida kids like that because, you know, typically on the national level,
yeah,
they're national kids. They're not just 1 and 2 in Florida. They're 1 and 2
in the nation. Yeah.
So that was pretty cool. But I got to imagine you walk into an Ohio State championship or a Pennsylvania State championship or a New Jersey, and you probably have 10 mats that are like that. That's got to be insane.
Yeah. Oh yeah. Super high level out here in Ohio and PA. And yeah, so those state tournaments, man, those are some serious meat grinders. Like I won an Ironman title before I won a state title.
Oh wow, and that's huge. So,
yeah. So that speaks volumes about the state tournament.
Yeah, I spoke to somebody the other day, and they had like a controversial call at the grappler, and they were like, but the grappler has become an Ironman, a beast,
a Super 32 almost.
Yeah, so that's just huge, and I didn't realize what tournament I was at with them until I left. I just thought, my son gets to go to a tournament with this club, and then I realized, oh my goodness, look who's here.
Yeah.
And I didn't even realize who was there until I started this show, right?
Yeah, right.
I started this show, and I'm learning about wrestling and learning about the country and I'm getting to meet athletes. And I'm like, wow, I'm going to have so many more kids and coaches I get to root for. And then people bring up the grappler, and I'm like, that kid was at the grappler. What do I know, right? Like that kid was at the grappler. I'm like, oh,
yeah.
I didn't realize. I looked at a video the other day, and there was a match which was Frankie Talshahar and Malik Hines last year on the mat, and I had no idea what was going on in front of me. I just I knew it was Malik Hines because I know Mr. Ortiz. He's usually at the CFWA room, and I was just standing there watching it, but I didn't realize who it was or how big the match was. I was just a parent watching wrestling.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. The more you learn, you're going to look back at those brackets and be mind blowing.
I'm like, wait a second. I was standing right there behind him.
You become a fan.
Yeah. Oh, wait. I don't think, was it Malik or was it Jacobs? It might have been Jacobs. I don't know. One of those 2 studs. But I was like, oh wow, I got to watch that match. So I got a question. Why do people say wrestling is life and not just a sport?
You know, wrestling is so competitive, man. At least at the top, it's got to be a lifestyle. But it's like anything. If you want to be the best at anything, you got to live and die it. You know, wrestling, it's funny because these kids, man, it is more than a sport to them. You know, like for wrestling, for me in high school, it was a thing that kept me like straight and narrow. You know, it kept me, you know, every Saturday morning I was working out. So, you know, Friday night I couldn't go do something stupid. And even still to this day, it's kind of the same thing. You know, as a wrestling coach, you know, if you want successful wrestlers, you got to be a good leader, you know, and wrestling kind of checks you, you know, you got to be on your toes. But, you know, it's definitely a lifestyle because it's more than being athletic. It's more than being strong. You know, you gotta be smart. You gotta have a good wrestling IQ. You gotta have great technique. You gotta study the sport. You gotta be a student of the sport. Your conditioning's gotta be good. It takes so many things to be a good wrestler. You know, where this athleticism alone doesn't cut it.
Yeah, and it's amazing because I remember talking to people last year, and so my son wrestled seventh grade, eighth grade, ninth grade, but it's really only been like 2 years of wrestling, right? And I remember talking to Mr. Ortiz at the CFWA room, and he's like, "I'm going to tell you what someone told me. One day you're going to understand why wrestling is life and not just a sport." He said he was a football coach and a football family and loved football. And he never could believe that wrestling would take over his heart. And then all of a sudden one day he's like, "I never understood why they said that. And then I just fell in love with it." And now he's got two boys that are state champs. One boy's at Lehigh. One is at Lehigh, and he's got a young little one that's I think 11 or 12 that we'll see him one day doing big things. He's a him and there's two little guys, him and little there's him and there's another. I had the kid on Jordan Afero. They always, you see him going back and forth in the gym, and they it's fun to watch those little guys, man.
Yeah, and Walsh is hurt in wrestling. They hurt a lot worse than they did for me in football and everything, because you're getting your butt whooped in front of your family and and all the girls at your school and your buddies. You walk off the mat, that sucks.
Oh yeah. Last year, so the first 2 years, Daniel just got killed, right? And then he got his first win this year. So then he wrestled a kid at, I forget what tournament it was at, maybe in DeLand, at the DeLand tournament. And the kid really took it to him, right? But he was a little upset with himself because he was like, "Man, I shouldn't have got handled like that by that kid. I can compete with that kid." And then senior night comes, and it's the gym, it's at school. The kid comes to our gym now, and Daniel's working him, and he's wrestling hard, and he's riding him, and he's doing good. Like 30 seconds left, he catches a cramp, and the kid pulls out, and he loses in front of the whole school. And he was like, and it was so hard because he knew that he was going to get that kid again. Knew it for 2 weeks, because he was like, "I'm getting that kid again. I'm getting that kid again. There's no way he's better than me. I can ride him." And he was riding him, and he was doing really good. And then he caught a cramp.
Oh, man.
And the kid came out around him because he couldn't kind of squeeze.
Can't do much.
And man, I know he ended up crying and running out because all the kids were there and stuff. And,
I was like at the Ironman. That was my home gym. I couldn't lose him. I couldn't lose in my home gym, especially because I talked a bunch of crap. I always talked myself up.
Man, you could see him get up. It was like that one time you really saw him get up for for a match. But I remember in front of all the kids, but everybody has seen his progression at the school. So they knew, like, wow, he's come a long way. So they weren't, it's like me as dad. I'm like, "Hey, you won a match. I'm so proud of you." He's like, "I sucked. Leave me alone." I'm like, "Okay, I get it."
Yeah, that wrestling brings that out in kids. That's beautiful.
Yeah. So it's cool, man. All right. So you ready for the 10 questions?
Let's do it.
All right. So Ironman or the Beast?
Ironman.
Cuyahoga Valley National Park or Scenic Railroad?
Cuyahoga Valley National Park. I ran probably 1,000 miles on those trails.
Flurry's Cafe or Brews on the River?
Brews on the River.
That's funny. My son heard Brendon Abdun talk about the difference. He lost the state tournament one year, and then this year he won it. And I asked him, what was the difference? And he said, "I got up every morning and ran 2 miles."
That's right. That's it.
And I was like, "That's the difference." He goes, "Yeah, I knew how to wrestle, but I couldn't." And so the other morning, Daniel ran. He's like, "See, I ran like that kid said." I'm like, "Okay, you're listening. You're pretending like you're not listening, but you're listening."
Yeah. Dude in the sport, he wants to win.
Yeah. So Swenson's or B-Spot?
Oh, Swenson's, man. That's LeBron James's favorite spot.
Really?
Yeah.
Nice. Talk about two kids from Akron, LeBron and Curry. Not a bad duo there, right?
No kidding.
All right. Iowa City or Kent, Ohio?
Kent, Ohio. I'm loyal to my roots.
Double leg or inside leg trip?
Double leg.
Water slide or roller coaster?
Roller coaster.
Doesn't Ohio have like a big?
Cedar Point.
Yeah, I heard about that.
Yep.
High school scoring or NCAA scoring?
NCAA scoring.
Mario Kart or Smash Brothers?
Oh my God. I did not play video games a whole lot growing up, but those were two that me and my brothers would fight over. I would say Smash Bros because I was the champ, the household champ.
Bruschetta said, people are still calling me. I'm like, bro, we're not in college anymore, but they'll call me, be like, yo, let's play. And he's like,
oh, I'm not competitive at video games, but you put Smash Bros on and I go, I compete.
All right, wrestling. Ohio, Pennsylvania.
Ohio.
Nice.
All
right, man. I'm trying to do better with these questions. If you look back at beyond last Monday, I would just ask the same 10, and I was kind of monotonous. So what I've done is I'll research areas you've been, like
yes,
has been, and two things. It's kind of pretty cool. It kind of gets me to feel like I've been to those places now. I kind of look and find some spots, and then but it's kind of about your area and where you've been.
Yeah, absolutely.
So
personal.
Yeah, I mean, we talked wrestling already, right? So,
yeah, exactly.
So it's been fun.
Yeah. Hey, I gotta give a shout out to two kids though. So Notre Dame, we signed two big kids. So we signed a kid, two Arizona boys. One, his name's Jacob Swift. He was a 4-time undefeated Arizona State champion.
Wow.
So, yep, he's a JUCO. He's going to be a JUCO transfer. You're going to see his name a lot. And then Alfonso Martinez, he's a 2-time state champ from Arizona. So we just picked those kids up in the last couple days. And
wow.
And
Ohio's picking up some Arizona talent, huh?
Yeah, we have a great Arizona connection out here. We have kids from everywhere. We like to try to get California. You bring that big melting pot together and let these kids kind of develop, each other's, own
How
style.
about the Buckeyes getting Echemendia and
huge? It's huge.
What about that kid? Talk about, walking in. You've been to Fargo, right?
I have coached it. I never wrestled it.
How hard is it for a kid to walk in and do what he did?
It's almost impossible.
I'm excited.
He's going to be fun to watch. I'm buddies with the assistant coach there, Anthony Ralph, and man, he talks highly of that kid.
I don't know if you saw, but I IG'd him and he came on. So
okay. Yeah, I don't follow him a whole lot right now. I got 36 wrestlers I had to follow.
No. But you can follow me, so that's cool.
I follow you.
But I IG'd him like I did you.
Yeah.
And he said, "Yeah, I'll come on." And I was like, "Oh shit, that's dope." And he came.
Everyone loves to get on a podcast.
Yeah, and it was pretty cool talking to him. Being a kid from Miami originally, I'm up in Orlando now, but being a kid from Miami originally, I knew a lot of people that have a similar story. Not the end part of the story. Like they didn't make it here and then go and win, become all world, right? But I have a lot of friends and family who, friends and family of friends that came the way he did. Being a kid from Miami.
Right.
I told someone a story. I remember sitting after high school. We used to have there was this little apartment complex on the bay. Mm-hmm. And as kids from high school, we'd do our homework, whatever, and then we'd all go hang out and, like kids do, right?
Yeah, absolutely.
And we were sitting, they had these tables by the little pool down there. And all of a sudden, this guy comes walking through the lobby and out back and just looks disheveled, right? And one of my buddies starts crying and gets up off the table and they hug. And come to find out, the guy had just boated here from Cuba and came on the beach and walked up to the apartment complex.
Wow.
Like legit on like a plywood and a car engine or whatever they do, Yeah. And I was like, man, those stories are amazing. So to hear his story was pretty brutal, like what he went through to kind of.
Yeah.
So it was.
I'm waiting on, I asked Flo to hook me up for a discount for Notre Dame wrestling. So I'm waiting on that discount so I can renew the account.
Yeah. Tell Flo. I've reached out to Flo to come on my show, but I don't know. I mean, Flo Live just announced that they just did they're doing their 500th show. I got my 100th show happening Friday, and
No
I've only been doing this since April 6th. So come on, Flo.
Yeah. Oh my God. You're gonna pass those guys up.
Yeah, come on, be on my show. That'd be cool. I don't want to be Flo. I want to be Dan. But
Right. Exactly.
But I can interview those guys, or they can interview me.
Oh, for sure. It's good for wrestling, man.
That would be fun. Hey, man, I appreciate you coming on. And any of those, any of your teammates, team members, coaching mates, girls team, girls wrestlers, whomever you know, shoot them my link. I'd be happy to talk to them. I've got,
awesome.
I can't believe it. I was just telling somebody, it's not that I don't want people on. I want them on. I've got, I don't know if you can see that.
Mm-hmm.
I do 4 shows a day. That's this
Oh
week.
my God.
That's next week is already filled up. And that's the 3rd week already filling up. So,
no kidding.
Yeah, man, it's awesome. It's awesome.
Yeah,
it's fun.
Absolutely.
I'm like, man, should I open up another hour? But I don't want to. I think I like the scarcity.
Yeah, no kidding. You should start grouping these guys together.
Yeah, I don't know. I tell them whatever they want to do, man. It's fine with me. I had somebody reach out this morning that was signing up, and they're like, do you mind if I bring the other coaches on? I'm like, sure. What about the wrestlers? Sure. I'm like, we can just do a regular Zoom fiesta.
Heck
I don't
yeah.
care.
Yeah, heck
Let's have a bunch of them on. I don't mind.
Yeah.
I just want to ask wrestling questions and learn. I get to learn, you know?
Yeah, absolutely. Wrestlers are entertaining anyways.
Yeah, it's fun. It's been really fun. And I appreciate everybody's support out there. Thank you so much. I have created Ward Wrestling Live now, so please feel free to go in and join and like the page. I think I just started it last week, last Monday, I think 2 weeks ago, and I hit 500 followers today.
Wow, nice.
So let's get to 1,000. And then I also have a YouTube channel that I started. We finally broke 100 subscribers. So
wow.
I have no idea how to get subscribers on YouTube. I don't know how it works. I'm learning. I just keep asking my 11-year-old.
I don't think anybody does.
Yeah, my 11-year-old told me yesterday at breakfast, Dad, when you're doing your show, you have to say, please subscribe to my channel.
Oh, okay.
And I'm like, oh, that's all it takes? He's like,
yes.
That's what they do. We watch YouTube. I'm like,
yeah.
Okay. I'll try it. Let's see what happens.
YouTube is new school.
Yeah. And then forget TikTok. I haven't even gotten there yet.
Oh God, me either. Me either.
First of all, I can't dance and I don't look good in yoga pants. So I
no, exactly. I'm right there with you, Dan.
Cool, man. Well, coming up next, we got John Hosegood. He spent 25 years in MMA, reffing MMA, and now he's the last 3 years he's been reffing high school. So this should be a pretty good conversation. We have him coming on from Lakeland. So anyway, Notre Dame College, man, look them up, go wrestle for them, have fun out there. Get out of, I know we love the Floridians to stay in Florida, but
yeah,
if you want to go somewhere outside of the state, look them up, man. He'd be happy to have you.
Heck yeah.
Thanks, brother. And hey, anybody you want to have on, just shoot him my link, buddy.
Absolutely. I appreciate you taking the time to sit down with me.
Yeah, man, for sure. Thank you.
Yep, I'll see you.